Week 13 of the fantasy basketball season. Here's a few guards I look to sell and trade this week. The first guard, Austin Reaves of the Los Angeles Lakers. Another decent year, no doubt about it, for Austin Reaves this season. But after coming off a big game a few games ago, and obviously we know the production isn't going to be at that peak value, I think he's a perfect sell-high play this week on the year. 18.4 points a game, 4.2 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.1 steals, 2.6 threes, and 44% from the field. In the last couple weeks, 18.6 a game, 3 boards, 5.8 assists, 1.6 steals, 2.8 threes, and 47% from the field. So his numbers this season are pretty much going to be similar across the board. Austin Reaves, January 15th versus the Heat, 14 points, 3 boards, 14 assists, 3 steals, 2 threes, 55% from the field. January 17th versus the Nets, 38 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, 4 threes, 56% from the field. And January 19th, the Clippers, 14 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, a block, 2 threes, 66% from the field. So obviously playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, these numbers are going to be inconsistent at times. I know he's a good scorer, good three-point shooter, obviously decent passer of the basketball, but now coming off a 38-point game and a 14-assist game and another game in the last 2 out of 3. I think this is a perfect time to sell Austin Reaves because he's at peak value right now, coming off of 2 big performances for this Laker team. And like I said, the ceiling is pretty limited in terms of him breaking out and really putting up huge numbers, playing with James and Anthony Davis. The next guard, Keyonte George of the Utah Jazz. So Keyonte George, since he's returned from injury over the last few games, he's gone out there and he's putting up some big numbers for this Jazz team. On the season, 16.5 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 2.8 threes, and 39% from the field. Last 3 games on average since he returned, 25 a game, 4 boards, 5.3 assists, 1.3 steals, 3.7 threes, and 38% from the field. So he's shooting the basketball even more. Is Keyonte George over the last few games with Lauri Markkanen being out of the lineup, but still the field goal percentage, he's going to hurt you a lot in his Keyonte George. Assists and scoring the basketball and 3-point shooting he's going to bring. But like I said, if Markkanen's back in the lineup sooner than later, these numbers are going to drop across the board. And guys like Isaiah Collier and Bryce Sensabaugh have been putting up numbers as well. January 15th versus Charlotte Hornets, 26 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, 5 threes, 40% from the field. January 17th at the Pelicans, 26 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block, 4 threes, 45% from the field. And January 20th at the Pelicans, 23 points, 4 boards, 7 assists, a steal, 2 threes, 30% from the field. So no doubt about it, he's putting up great numbers as George. But like I said, field goal percentage, he's going to hurt fantasy owners in. Also, he's scoring a little bit over his head, and right now I think he's at peak value because once Lauri Markkanen returns to the lineup, these numbers across the board will go down, in my opinion, even though obviously he's going to get a lot of playing time with this Jazz team going nowhere this season and playing all the youngsters. And also another thing, with Jordan Clarkson out as well, there's more opportunities at that guard position. And the third and final guard I look to sell is Desmond Bane of the Memphis Grizzlies. So Desmond Bane, we know he's a solid scorer of the basketball, good shooter, but he's another player right now. I think he's playing a bit over his head over the last few games. On the year, 17.5 a game, 5.6 boards, 5.2 assists, 1.4 steals, 2.2 threes, and 49% from the field. But the last couple weeks, 21.2 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 2.2 steals, 3 threes, and 59% from the field. So he's been a 5-category type of player over the last few weeks here. It's Desmond Bane, but I think it's going to wear off a little bit. Ja Morant's been in and out of the lineup over the last few games, so he's getting numbers off of that. Is Desmond Bane, and some good matchups versus Spur team that don't play defense and a Minnesota Timberwolves team that don't really play defense. January 15th at the Spurs, 21 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block, 2 threes, 61% from the field. January 17th at the Spurs, 22 points, 6 boards, 14 assists, 3 steals, 2 threes, 58% from the field. And January 20th versus the Timberwolves, 22 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 threes, 50% from the field. So he's playing out of this world, no doubt about it. Is Desmond Bane. No doubt, I think he's a solid player, is Bane, but he's just playing above his averages and over his head, in my opinion. So right now, well, he's on a hot streak, is Desmond Bane, and he's giving fantasy owners 4 or 5 categories. I would deal him this week here on the trade block. I'm not saying dump these players for anything, but if you could get peak value for players right now, putting up numbers that obviously aren't going to be sustainable, this is the time to do it. So that's a few guards I look to sell and trade for week 13 of the fantasy basketball season.